It still says off air. Oh, good morning. There's quite a delay even on my end here. If anyone is here, please type something in the chat and let me know. And also let me know. Good morning. Okay, so I just heard myself back in the thing. And let me know if I'm talking too loud because I actually have my headset hooked up correctly this time. Good morning, good morning. I don't want to yell into the microphone either, so hopefully everyone can hear me better this way. Do. Are you watching? If anyone is watching, please type something in the chat so that I know that you're here. Hello? I could just start reading and then whatever. I'll just start reading some random stuff. I'm going to stay away from the news because it's infuriating me right now. Just a heads up, I don't avoid it. Benefit. I avoid it for my own because I can get deeply immersed in the news and feel it on a personal level. I don't know how to explain this without sounding like a sup, black-eyed kid. I'm gonna go through some things, and whoever's here can vote on what we listen to today. Usually I find a bunch of scary stories, but I've really been looking at so many things on Pinterest that it's quite variable right now. Hey, kitty baby, you usually don't get to come, do you? It's just a random time of day when I have a moment where I can stream and the internet seems to be clear. Let me know if I'm too loud. I'm trying not to talk too loud into this microphone because it's right by my mouth. So I'm trying to be more cautious and I might accidentally breathe into the microphone. That's totally not on purpose. I usually don't narrate in this, but I figured it'd be better than not having a microphone attached and then shouting at the computer. Wow. We Are Legion. I get where you're coming from on politics. I tune in to horror channels to relax. How messed up is that? No. You know what, We Are Legion? That's what got me into horror. Probably, well, if anyone knows, this has been my life forever. Reading out loud and horror have been a part of me since way before it probably should have been. Like, when you're not, I don't want to get too far into it, but when you're a kid left to their own devices, you see what you see. And I gravitated toward horror. I mean, if anybody remembers like some older scary movies, I feel like those were gorier than they are now. Like you know if you watch Saw now, you know that's going to be gory. But not all scary movies are like that, but it seemed like at the time when I started watching scary movies, they were very like gross and nasty. Like when you're a kid at home alone and you have access to HBO and Cinemax for very brief periods of time, you see stuff you shouldn't see. Kristen Burrows, bonjour. Christian, are you I don't know where everybody here is from. Where's everybody from? Kitty, I think you're Southern. But everyone else, I don't know where you're at. I'm in Michigan. It's cold here. It's dark. All the trees have lost their leaves, with the exception of a few. So it looks really creepy here. The sky's gray. And it's cold. Stupid tablet. Quad Cities, Iowa. We Are Legion. I never listened to horror until my own life fell apart 4 years ago. I still don't like the blood and gore horror. I don't either. Psychological. And I hate the term creepypasta because it implies that it's not well written. I think creepypastas get to the point faster. Sometimes they're a half an hour or an hour, but they're still like I think they're very underrated as far as horror goes. They're great. Iowa, Illinois, very dark and desolate day here. Yeah, same here. Is it snowing in Iowa yet? I should watch. See, this is why I don't know, because I can't watch the news. Like 5 minutes in, and my blood pressure is like skyrocketing. So I have to turn it off. Yeah. So many people have told me that it's therapeutic for them. And I've said this before, so I don't know if you know this, We Are Legion, but I've always had very vivid and intense dreams and nightmares, more nightmares than dreams. But once I started making content on my channel, I noticed that when I make something, or I'm involved in it at all, like if I'm just researching stories or making thumbnails or doing anything involved in that, I don't have a nightmare that night. So I don't know what the connection is. I don't know if it's like a release of some creative avenue that helps my brain get rid of junk I don't need in my head, or if it's something else. All I know is I'm thankful for it. It did snow once. Will be snowing soon. Yeah, it's already snowed here a couple of times, but it melted right away. Kitty baby, yes, we're going to get severe storms today again. Severe storms? Like snowstorms in the south? Or like rainstorms? Thank you. I don't know if you guys can see the description, but I personally took all the ads off of all of my videos and won't have any more on there. However, I do have a Patreon now, and I did start a SoundCloud, and I put a schedule up. So all of my videos will now have just in the description box. Tuesdays on SoundCloud, Wednesday on Patreon, and Saturdays on YouTube, so that I can kind of branch out more and gain more of an audience and see which one is stronger and what I should focus on more. But I definitely don't want to abandon my YouTube audience, because, I mean, that would be so wrong, I think. But I also need to see all the possibilities available to me, because I really do get buried on YouTube. So I thought maybe branching out, because I'm already on all the social media things except for Tumblr, which I feel like I would just not know what to do on Tumblr. I don't know. Someone can let me know if I should do that. I know that putting my stuff on Pinterest has helped a lot. But the reason I was going to look up stories for you guys, and I was going to have you guys vote on what you guys want to hear. Hometown horror stories. 25 attorneys talk about the most sickening criminals they were forced to defend. Ooh, that looks like a good one. So put that in the tab for voting. Loads first before I close that out. Okay, or let me see what else I can find here. There's like a delay on my computer that's driving me bonkers. There we go. All right, this one is 24 men and women share their true creepy phone call stories that freak you the F out. Like, can you just say freak you the fuck out? Like, I know it bothers people, the F word. But I was raised the only swear word is God damn it and Jesus Christ. And it's so messed up. Like, I could go on, I could have a whole channel with just personal stories from my childhood. Not disgusting ones, just things that's probably why I have nightmares. Like, hola, Jen. Hey, girl. Interest, I'll look you up. Yeah, I'll type my name in here so you can see it. I am a very active pinner. You know, I just realized. So, Sebastian, lover of scary. I feel like I want to hear the attorney stories. Okay. Oh, and I was going to get a third option and see what you guys wanted to hear. Hold on. Like, people that take the time to come to the live stream, I don't want to say my name out loud. But now I'm going to specifically know, like, if something happens to me, you few in this chat, I'll know who did it. I'm just joking. I hate hearing GD. What's GD? Oh, yeah, I know. But there's a whole messed up, there's good churches, and then there's fearing and terrifying people into believing your belief system. And when you're a little kid, that's not how you should be introduced into something that's supposed to make you feel better about spirituality. But that's a whole other live stream. And even just, I could feel my blood pressure rising just saying that out loud. All right, or there's 17 people describe the scariest things they've encountered while hiking. And I never know what stories people have heard and what they haven't, so most of the time I try to, okay, so we've got on the table, we've got 25 attorneys talk about the most sickening criminals they were forced to defend, or 24 men and women share their true creepy phone call stories that will freak you the fuck out, or, and it's loading weird, okay, is it 18 people describe the creepiest things they've encountered while hiking? So I'll let you guys decide. Oh, we are Legion. You're going to look through all my boards? Well, enjoy the next month of your life, because one thing I meant to tell you guys before, like I've told you guys how when I was in high school, I was in the nursing program, and it was 2 years of, like, I had to go to school before school started, and we had to go to nursing homes and hospitals and learn pharmaceuticals and everything that you're supposed to learn in your first 2 years of nursing. And now it was a program with 50 people, and if you got a 4.0 for the entire time, then you got a certificate to go onto a program at a local college here. And in 2 years after high school, you would have your RN. That was the last year of the program that I was in it. And there was only 5 out of 50. I wasn't one of them that got to go on in the program. So I was extremely discouraged after that. And I was going to do surgical tech. And it was, again, another program where you had to get a 4.0 to get in. And like less than 1% of all the people got in. So I was frustrated. My dad suggested that instead of going on with any more medicine, take a break, because I was so tired. Like, I was so tired because it requires a lot of studying, and I just don't think I was into it then. I think when you're into something and you're passionate about it, you try harder than you do at other things. Now I probably would, because I'm more focused. And so my dad suggested that I go to cosmetology because it was here, it was free. If you were under a certain age at the time, it was free. So I was like, okay. So I went to cosmetology school, did all the hours, but I never went to the state boards. Like, what a dummy, right? Oh my gosh. So I've always had that, like, I do friends and family's hair for free, but I would like to get paid for it, if you know what I'm saying. So, all right, back to the Church of Christ. Yeah. Well, Kitty Baby says, I was raised in the Church of Christ. When I was real young, we were Baptist, and Baptist can be good, strong, spiritual. But there was a side to where we went that my parents felt they needed to leave because the parents were, that's a whole live stream. Like, that's probably several live streams, so I'm just going to skip right over that. It wasn't good. Creepy phone. Jen votes for creepy phone calls, and I believe someone else said they wanted to hear. Sebastian said attorney stories, so that's one for each. Logan, good morning. Well, where I'm at, it's brunch time. That's what it says, brunch with Duchess or whatever. Creepy phone calls and lawyer. Sebastian says, I recently learned how to spin a gun, and now I can't stop spinning one right now. What? Tell me it's not loaded, because it's not funny. I don't entertain gun violence or being careless with guns at all. We are gun owners in this house. and we are extremely careful with it. We even have a lock that goes through the barrel. So you literally have to know, first of all, how to unlock the lock, which takes a minute. Then you have to know how to load it. And what I love is that the way that it fires, if you don't know how to fire it, it'll rip your hand apart. So no one's allowed to touch our stuff or go near it or anything. So we're very careful about it. We don't play around with that. It's a responsible choice that we have taken for our family. So, and my husband is also a very active volunteer police officer. Yeah, we're very serious about gun safety. So, anyways, creepy phone calls. That's 2 for creepy phone calls. Someone says hiking stories, so that's 1, 2, 2 for the creepy phone calls. 3 for creepy phone calls. Bored with the wilderness stories. Yes. 6 Nerf gun. Yeah, I love Nerf guns. Does anybody know what Bago is or play Bago? Oh, wait a second. It's basically like these. They're like these rectangular things that are on the ground, and they have like a slight elevation, almost like a little ramp. And you space them apart, and you have like these little bags, and they have a hole in them, and then you throw them, keep points, whatever. Anybody know? Sometimes I don't know if this is still working or not. It's working. I think people call it something else, but they're like little bean bags, and you throw them into the hole. Like you have 2 rectangles spaced evenly apart, and one person has like 3 or 4 red ones, and the other person has 3 or 4 blue ones. And you keep score. Like if you get the Bago in the hole, it's like 3 points or 2 points or whatever you decide on. And if you get it on top of the platform, it's 1. And even if you like knock in someone else's, I don't know if that like I don't know the whole scoring system, whatever. Good morning, Anthony. We play bags, but in the Midwest here we call it cornhole. Yeah, yes, I forgot that because the bags are usually filled with corn or beans, something like that. Yeah, cornhole. Yeah, you know what I think of when I see cornhole? Yeah, thank you, Logan. You know what I'm talking about. All I can think of is that scene in Office Space where Peter tells his neighbor that he's probably going to be going away for a while. And he's like, watch out for cornhole, bud. That's all I can think of when I see cornhole. All right. I think that the winner for this are the creepy phone calls, unless someone else has a vote for the attorney stories. Dun, 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 dun. God, I really hope I haven't read these before, because now I don't know. This one, the first one looks long. I love Office Space. Whew. This is calming me down a lot, because I watched a video this morning, and if you haven't watched, I'm going to share his name with you in just a minute. But we won't get into the discussion about it, because it's a good upsetting. It's a enlightening thing that everyone should know about it. But I had to distract myself because it was so upsetting. I mean, it's usually upsetting when you find out something horrible, right? Bye, Sebastian. Bye. That's like a joke. Bye, we say at our house. You know how you hear people, and I'm so sorry if that's how you talk to your friends, anyone that's listening. But we'll be like, bye, love you, bye. Because you hear people say it, they don't mean what they're talking about. They're just like completely ingenuine about it. So we say it jokingly, but we really love you guys. I can't find this guy's, thought it was like deluxe, or I gotta go back through here now and see. But anyway, I think it's Jamie Deluxe, and he's been going out of his way to, oh, here he is. Jamie Deluxe. I'm gonna let me see if I can open this in a new link, and then I can link it to you guys if you guys want to watch these. I'll leave it up to you if you want to watch any of his videos, because I know how hard it can be when you have something upsetting right in your face and you didn't expect it when you weren't looking for it. So I'll leave the link in here, over here in chat, or maybe in the description. You guys, I'm going to put it in the chat first. Let's see if it'll let me. And then if you guys want to watch any of his videos, you can. But he's really went out of his way to uncover some crazy shit. Okay. We Are Legion. Wasn't cornhole also a Beavis and Butthead thing? Yeah, cornhole. Been a while, but I remember. Okay. I need TP for bunghole. That's what they always said. I need TP for my bunghole. Yeah. I only know this because me and my friend Ty used to go through a whole scene of it all the time, and people would avoid us because of it. That, and then we used to act out a scene from Wayne's World. If anyone's ever watched Wayne's World, and it's a scene where like Wayne's crazy ex-girlfriend comes up with like a big present, and he opens it in the donut shop, and he's like, "What is it?" She's like, "Open it." And he opens it, and it's a gun rack. And then they go through this whole narrative of like, why did you give me a gun rack? I don't own a gun, let alone many guns that would necessitate a gun rack. And so he and I would act out that scene all the time, and people would always avoid us at work. So the drug and alcohol lady, TV for a bunghole. No, is that a channel? I'm going to look it up right now, and I will. The drug and alcohol lady. Or you can share the link. I think it should be able to let you share the link. If not, let me know, and then I'll share the link. I'm not sure how that works on here. But we are queued up for the phone calls. Unless someone else has a vote for the attorneys, we are going for the phone calls. One last vote. Hello, April. Oh, that's so sweet. Haha. Everyone else didn't think so. People would avoid us at lunchtime at work because they didn't think it was very funny. But that's kind of like one of my things I've always done. I don't know if you could call it a talent. Memorizing scenes from movies. I've always done that too. Forever. I'm such a dork. Okay, I'm going to look up the drug and alcohol lady. Looking her up. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. Does anyone else sing to themselves out loud? Is it just me? I go through many scenarios a day where I wonder, is it just me? Does anyone else do this? Several times a day I wonder these things. I am a giant dork. Yeah. Like, you know, I love ugly Christmas sweaters. I friggin' love them. If I had the money and the resources, I would have 25 ugly Christmas sweaters to wear for every day before leading up to Christmas. Swear to God. We do say that in our house all the time, and that's from Office Space. I can't look up drug and alcohol lady. It's not letting me search. Do you? I do it all the time. I do it while I'm shopping too. Like, so when I go to the store, I'm like a machine. I have my bags that I take with me because, hello, pollution, plastic bags. That's another channel by itself. I have my list. I write down in my little bottom right corner of my thing. I have my dinners for the week organized in per day. Then I have my grocery list on the left, broken down, organized, and I know the store by heart. So I can be in and out in a half an hour. Usually that's probably about 2 weeks worth of groceries. But while I'm in there, people see that I know where stuff is at, and they start to ask me. So of course I get distracted. And then while I get distracted, I start singing to myself and also talking to myself. But now I just don't care if people can hear me. I don't care. I bust out on Skype calls now. You know, Skype never works for my computer. It's so annoying. Friends, rather. I sing whatever song of Muzak. Is that how you said that? Muzak is playing over the intercom at the stores. If anybody doesn't know, I also started a SoundCloud. So that's like, just a podcast thing. And that's what I like about SoundCloud and Patreon. It's just audio. It's way easier to upload stuff to there. It's crazy. Anyways, sidetrack. Hello. Okay, we are starting on creepy phone calls. Dun dun dun. Do you? Every time I've had any issue, I use Skype. I always have issues with it every stinking time. I don't know why. I'm going to close out Twitter because it's really distracting to have Twitter open while you're live streaming. I don't even have anything on there. It's just when someone follows you, you have the little number up there. I'm like, the weirdest amount of people following me. Okay, I found the drug and alcohol lady. Is she funny? I'll go back to that later. And that sounds like one heck of a meal planning system. I'd like to utilize that for my family. That's a secret talent I have, is organizing, but it's like I can get so overly into it. Okay, what's weird is while I'm trying to read you scary stories, I'm totally distracted. But when I am focused on something, like if I have something in mind to get done, and my family hates this about me, it's not going to go into day 2. It will get finished today. And I know my husband hates that about me. Like how people will move and they'll be like, it'll take them a month to move. No. The longest it's ever taken me to move is 2 days. And that was only because we were just tired. We were just too tired to keep going. But I have a whole system for that, and it just if I wanted to never see people or have a life, I could probably have a business where I organized people's things. But I would probably become a workaholic because it's like a miserable joy. And I'm already sidetracked from reading the scary stories. Oh my God, Logan. I used to find squeaky pet toys and sneak up behind people and squeak them. You meet people on Skype? Or that's how you stay in touch with them? Elena or Alana. Greetings. I just don't like to keep going with something. Once I have a project to get done, I like to finish it. Side note, we also live in a house that we bought knowing we were going to have to fix it up. So we have that's just different kind of thing. And you don't know the level of cringe I feel when we can't finish a project. Oh, and it's not anyone's fault. It's just exhaustion, time, and money. It's unavoidable, but it's so, oh. Victor Vega finally made it to live stream. It must have been the right time. I guess I started it this morning because I saw something really upsetting and I needed a mental distraction, and this is perfect. So we are going to read about 24 men and women share their true creepy phone call stories that freak you out. Does anybody have a weird phone call that freaked them out? I'm going to come back to the chat and find out in a second. This is number 1. The phone in room 9325. I used to work graveyard front desk at a luxury hotel. Has something to do with the mouse? I don't understand. I have several stories of haunted rooms, but this is the best one from that particular job. Again, these stories aren't edited, and when I read for the channel, I go through and have to edit these Because these people that have these stories, they're not writers. They're just telling a story, and someone has compiled them, but they didn't edit them at all. Ugh. Anyway, one night around 10 p.m., the swing shift managers were still there, and I was manning the back office telephone answering good guest questions. The phone rang from room 9325, not the real room number. This is odd, I thought, because at the time all the rooms in building 9 had been stripped down for rehab. There wasn't even a chair left in those rooms, and the entire building was barricaded by a 6-foot-tall construction wall. I answered the phone, and it was silent on the other end. I hung up and informed my managers. 2 women in their late 20s. I feel like I've read this before. Does anyone feel like these sound familiar? I'll come back. I'll finish this and see. They come back 20 minutes later. Nothing. But they were scared out of their minds. They go home after 11, and my phone rings again. Same room, same silence. This time, I have to contact the duty manager, or the only manager in charge of the resort at night. Oh my God. He's a housekeeping manager, and I tell him what's up. He calls security and his houseboy to go up with. I know for sure I've read this for my channel before. Does this not sound familiar to anyone else? Good morning, Mark Selby. I know it's off topic, but I used to be a ghost hunter. Wow. The live streams are cool. Are they? I'm going to finish the story, and then I think I'm going to have to see if I've read the rest of them, but I know I read this before. I don't know if I read it for my channel, though. It seems like I have. Okay, so he's a housekeeping manager, and I tell him what's up. He calls security and his houseboy to go up with him. I get a phone call from him a few minutes later. D, I'm coming down. Get the crisis keys. The crisis keys are the only hard keys we have that unlock the deadbolt on the doors when guests have locked themselves inside. Mind you, that word said looked, not locked. Anyway, he gets the keys, and 30 minutes later when he returns, he says that he arrived at the room with security, the door was deadbolted, and the connecting room door was shut. In a building that is completely empty with a 6-foot-tall barrier around it. He sat a security host outside the door, and the houseboy by the connecting door while he came to get the keys from me. When he returned with the keys and unlocked the deadbolt, he tried to open the door but couldn't, because it felt like someone was holding it closed on the other side. Finally, the door gave way and slammed open to an empty room. No one in the room. Sound familiar? Bill collectors always calling. You know, there's a legal term that you can say to bill collectors, and when you say it, they're not supposed to call you again. Just saying. Jen, Mark. Does anybody think this sounds familiar to you? Maybe I was gonna read it for my channel and didn't, but it feels like I've read this. I worked for Walmart for years. I worked at Walmart too. And in about my 3rd year, I was a department manager. I was too. For furniture. I was not for furniture, but I got calls for a couple of weeks from some creep asking about my panties and other gross things. What's ironic is, that's good, Mark. I'm glad you haven't heard it. I was a department manager for accessories, which included lingerie and underwear. And literally, I was the department manager for about a week when some weirdo called up and he was talking on the phone like this because he wanted to photograph his 13-year-old daughter in some. And I got my manager. The guy hung up before we could do anything from that, but it was so disgusting. Like, you have to legally say to a bill collector, do not contact me again. And they can't call you again. They have to do a paper. Or actually just don't answer the phone. All of my phone calls, if I don't know the number, I don't answer it. And my phone also has a scam blocker or someone who's been reported. My phone naturally just blocks them out. So, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty gross. All right. on to story number 2, titled Talking to Yourself. So this happened about 15 years ago. I called my friend up and he wasn't home, so I left a message on his answering machine. I said, "Hey, it's me. Sorry I missed you. Call you later. Bye." Then I hung up and left the house. I made no other calls. Later that day, he called back and says, "Wow, that was quite a message you left. Who was that girl you were talking to?" I was like, "What are you talking about? I wasn't talking to any girl." As it turns out, the message didn't end after I said goodbye. I had to go over to his house and listen to this message a few times. After my initial message that I did leave, as quoted above, there was a pause, and it continues on for another 30 to 40 seconds or so with me talking to some girl. It was my voice, but a conversation I never had with a girl whose voice I don't recognize. You could compare it to the message I know I did leave, and the two voices were indistinguishable. Not just the voice, but, talking mannerisms. It was my voice. Also, references to my occupation and activities were the same. Basically, in this conversation, I was talking to this girl about going skiing, but I had to go to my shop and work on a car first, which was totally correlated to me. Then the message just stopped. It was recorded on one of those digital answering machines that recorded the message to a chip, so there was no tape I could have taken and had analyzed. Also, neither I nor my friend had party lines, so that's not an explanation. It's very freaky and I can't explain it. If anybody doesn't know what a party line is, I can't remember when this was. It in the 90s? So instead of there wasn't a lot of social media then, but party lines were like a form of social media and basically you I don't know if you paid for these or if they were free, but you call this number and it was just all these people in this enormous group phone call, and you should be like, hey, or people could I don't know how you would talk to an individual person or anything, but yeah. That did sound familiar to you? That's creepy as fuck. Yeah, that is scary. It's like a doppelganger. Does anybody doppelganger? Sometimes I overpronounce G's and sometimes I don't. It's always funny though. All right. Well, let's see. Okay, this one says unknown caller. Back in 2007, my Nana passed away. My mom and my Nana had been practically best friends for my mom's entire life. My grandparents used to leave my mom at Nana's house when they went on vacation, so they both saw a lot of each other. They all lived in England until my mom moved over to the United States in 1989. She kept in touch with everyone. She would call her mom every Saturday and Nana every Sunday. My mom and Nana had a plan devised in which my mom would call her one Sunday, and then Nana would call the next, and then my mom, and then Nana. I think it had something to do with phone bills, but I was pretty young, so I'm not sure. They would always call each other when it was exactly 8 in the morning over here. But because Nana's clock was slightly off, she always called it exactly 8:04. Because she was calling from a different country, the caller ID would always come up as unknown caller. This information is relevant. So again, it's 2007. Nana passed away on a Tuesday, to be exact. My mom and I stayed home and cried most of the week, and we made plans to fly over to England for the funeral the following week. But for that first week, we were staying at home. And on the following Sunday morning, we were eating breakfast. My mom looked over at the clock and noticed it was 8:02. She started tearing up and said that last time she had talked to Nana, she had planned that Nana would be the one to call. And if she hadn't passed, she would be calling in exactly 2 minutes. My mom and I were pretty upset until exactly 8:04, I shit you not, the phone rings. We look at each other and think it's safe to say I've never seen a more dumbfounded and terrified expression on my mother's face. She took the phone off its stand and pointed at the caller ID, and it said unknown caller. Now, at this point, I could feel my stomach dropping into my butt cheeks in horror. Nice description. So I tried to rationalize it by saying maybe it's just a telemarketer. But my mom shook her head and answered the phone. I could faintly hear it. It was just static and noise for several minutes. Then it said something, and I heard it click, meaning the caller had hung up. I asked my mom what was going on, and she said it sounded like one of those scam calls you get by saying you've won a trip to the Bahamas or something, only she couldn't make out anything it was saying until the last bit when it said, "Enjoy your trip to paradise," in a very cheery female voice, and then hung up. Since that incident, a few other inexplicable things have happened involving my Nana. While my mom and I were in England for the funeral, my dad had called and said that a book had been left on the top of the stairs. It was a children's book I hadn't read in years, and it had been kept on a bookshelf for the best part of a decade. But somehow, it had ended up lying open at the top of the stairs, and it was a book my Nana gave to me. Aw, that one's not scary. That one's sweet. Does it really do ghosts really scare you guys? I know. Harry, I felt my heart drop into my butt cheeks in horror. Like when laxatives are too strong. Oh, no, it's not over, Kitty. I'm still reading. Lil Wicked, what's up? Oh my gosh, I forgot I have to read that story. And I also owe some audio to Creeperoni. Oh my gosh, I gotta write this down. Lil Wicked and Creeperoni audio. When the weather changes, I feel like a total flake. I'm usually on the ball, but not these past 2 weeks. Not at all. Yeah. I just feel like when something is violent, maybe you should be scared of it. But I think people are generally just scared of the unknown. And that's why they're scared of it. I think that most people, especially that's why people become ghost hunters, because we want answers about the other side. Feel better. Not because it's scary, but because we're curious. Are the people that are gone, are they okay? I don't know. I think that's why most people get into like ghost hunting and paranormal interests. Maybe I'm wrong. That's why I love it. It gives me comfort in knowing, I know that when you're raised in church, you just know where you're going and that's it. As for myself, I think it's so much more complex than that, but that's to each his own. When my daughter was little, she had went to church with a friend, and I hadn't taken her to church because of my experience in church as growing up. And it's difficult for me to go. I think everyone has to do for their spiritual well-being what they feel is best. So my daughter went to church with her friend, and it's just a group of kids. They're like maybe 7 or 8, and she asked, they're all asking all these questions, and my daughter raises her hand and says, if God made all the people and all the stuff on earth and made the whole world, who made God? And of course, the person just brushed her off. And that I knew right then and there, I'm like, oh, I can't take her, because people generally don't like anyone questioning their belief system. And for me, I think questions are always good. Questions are how you learn. So if anybody ever shuts you down and tells you not to ask questions or discourages your questions, you just you can either argue with, when people believe something, they believe it. There's not a lot of swing. Sometimes you can change someone's mind. Sometimes you can let them at least see your side of it. Doesn't mean you're going to change their belief system, and you shouldn't. People are allowed to believe what they have to have peace within themselves. Sunbuns, holy moly, how are you? Schmeister, here come the money. Sup, people? Duchess, I'm heading for work soon. How are you? You must be working like crazy, because I never see you on. God's not real, come at me. No, Harry, don't start fighting with people in the chat. Keep it. Because haunted houses have already some elementals. To each their own. I wanted to do a live stream with someone that is a demonologist, But as you know, I have so much difficulty when I have more than one person on my stream. I really hope that I can become technologically advanced enough to have another person on the live stream, because I feel like it would be a really cool conversation to share with everybody. Oh, no, don't feel bad. I guess my earnings died. I've got no sound. Have you guys got sound? I miss you. Feel so bad. I haven't been around. Don't feel bad. I'm getting a little vacation next week, though. Oh, that's good. Can you guys hear me okay? Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Hey, Mr. Richards. REM. I'd love to have a demonologist on stream. Yeah. I have sound, Harry. Okay, good. Well, let's not go perfect. Are you going through Hangouts, hon? Yep. Yeah. It's the only thing that works on here. I've tried so many other things. They just don't. They don't work. But having someone else on with me, it just, I don't know what it does to it. But Phantom Zone, yes, yep. Pal Kate, wow, good morning with the Duchess this week. I have sound. Whoop. It sounds sloppy, wet, and wrinkly. Harry, don't make me ban you from the chat. Come on. Maybe I should live stream. I haven't actually done that on my channel yet. You haven't? Oh, a podcast. Okay, that's why I thought you had live stream, because I've heard your podcasts. I'm really getting into that now. I'm really excited about that. Okay, let me get back to the stories. Let me get back. I'm so distracted. I'm easily distracted. All right. We are reading, for those of you that just joined us, 24 men and women share their true creepy phone call stories that will freak you the F out. That's the title of it. I'm on number 4. I'm amazing. And again, I don't know if I've read these for my channel or not. So if you've heard them before, I'm really sorry, but I don't actually know. All right. Back when I was in high school, I was into musical theater. Our community theater had just finished SOUNDCLOUD, the musical, in which I was the lead. Side note, for you guys, I don't know if anybody's like involved in the theater, but I love those plays that like schools put on, and then there's like a local playhouse here. I love those. I would rather go to one of those than the movies, because you don't know what you're getting into when you pay so much for the movies. But like going to a play is often free, and it's very entertaining. Anyway. All right, so I met a friend from a neighboring city named Lindsay. She was the female lead in the cast. Lindsay and I hit it off from the start. She was funny, beautiful, could sing like an angel. We had a great time at rehearsals and started hanging out afterwards. We would go out to eat or to the park or just to get away. Though we never got romantically involved. Oh, this must be a guy. Well, I guess I can't assume that now, can I? That was really stupid of me to say. I am very sorry. All right, though. Okay. Though we never got romantically involved because she was a female actress in the cast, if timing would have been right, it might have been a different story. So the show weeks came and went, and we stayed in touch. She would call from time to time and tell me how she started a new play or found a new song she loved. Eventually, it dwindled down to the occasional text or email. From her was to tell me she got accepted into New York University theater program, and that she would be moving there after the summer was over. Excuse me. I just burped on the microphone. You're so lucky it wasn't loud, and I'm moving on now. Okay. Excuse me again. A couple of weeks before the semester was supposed to start, I was startled when I received a call from her at 3 a.m. She had never called like that before, and I said, hello? On the other end, it was a little staticky, but I could hear her okay, and she said, hey, sweetie, how are you? She sounded a little off. Okay, just a little sleepy, I said in a joking tone. How are you? Is everything okay? I'm amazing, she said in a voice tinged with ecstasy. She dragged the word out a little too long, and it was odd because I knew she never took any drugs or anything. Well, I'll call you tomorrow and talk to you then. I'm pretty tired, I said. Okay, bye, my love. She said in an almost whisper. She only ever called me when she was drunk. Oh, call me like that when she was drunk. I said goodbye and hung up. I lay in bed thinking it was a little odd that she would call me that late, but thought nothing of it and fell asleep. I received a phone call at 8 a.m. from a friend of ours. Hello, Todd. In her voice, I could hear a distant sadness. Yeah, what's wrong? I said I was worried because she is usually an upbeat person. Todd, I don't know how to tell you this, but Lindsay is dead. She said this, and I was in shock, so I asked the only questions I could muster. When? How? My friend said that yesterday she went to a Dave Matthews Band concert with her sister. It was raining at the concert. She was driving herself home in the rain and lost control. Her car hit a tree and she died instantly. What time did she die? I asked. I can't imagine how weird a question that must have been. Around 10 p.m. last night. I froze, speechless. I know that she called me at 3 a.m. last night, I thought. I told my friend I would call her back and hung up. I immediately checked my call log for the phone call from Lindsay. Nothing. No missed calls. No outbound call. No call at all that night. Nothing. I sat there in shock. I know she called, I said out loud. It just didn't make sense. It wasn't a dream because I remember waking up and looking at the clock. Later that day, I went to see all her friends and family and discuss the viewing and funeral. I told them what happened and what she said, and they all just sat there, and their sister broke the silence. That is how she left. During the concert, she lifted her head and let the rain fall on her face, and she looked so peaceful and happy. That's how she sounded on the phone, I said. Just at ease. The funeral was beautiful. Tons of people, friends, family. She would have been very happy to see how it all turned out. To this day, I can still hear her voice every once in a while. Ooh. Brings a tinge of sadness, but also hope that there's something better when we leave this world. Huh. I have to stop sometimes when I'm reading because I'll read something that's so sweet that it'll make me upset for just a second, and then I'm fine. The scary ones, I'll just be like, "What the fuck?" Like when I'm reading it and they're messed up. But when I read something that's sad, I usually do have to take a second. I don't know how many funerals you guys have been to, people that you know, but I feel like I've been to more than I should have of people my age or younger. Harry, them's fighting words. Being sensitive isn't being a wimp. Sitting down and doing nothing while other people are getting hurt is a wimp. Harry, where is Carrie? Should have been happy to see how it turns out. She's dead, who cares? Oh my god. Ghost called me once. Sunbuns, gotta go for now. Sorry, I'll see you around though. Sunbuns made me this cool thing, and I need to put it on my channel. I need to make it part of my intro. I don't know if it'll let me play it for you guys. Like if I look it up, if it'll let me show it to you. So I'm gonna see if I can real quick. If no one minds, since we are live streaming, and I get distracted by shiny things and squirrels. That should be the title of all my live streams. Reading, shiny things, and squirrels. I've never eaten brunch in my life, I don't think. Not ever. Let me see if I can look up. Let me see if I can find her thing that she sent me. Nope, I can't. I'll try to find it and then put it in my thing, but now you play the waiting game. Harry, remember when you said, "Why did someone block you?" Remember that? Don't insult people on here, Harry. Don't do it. Don't test me. Don't be testy. Don't be a testicle. Harry Rods. Moving on. All right, this one's short. It's number 5 for anyone that's new, we're reading 24 men and women share their creepy true phone call stories that will freak you the F out. They always have the longest titles on this one. Okay, number 5, the basement phone. I used to work in a building that had 3 levels of sub-basements. That sounds insane to me. With a piece of lab equipment, I typically worked in the lowest basement. I had the only key. There was a wired phone in there, and I did work late some nights, but not this night. I was sleeping alone in my apartment when I woke up to a phone call on my cell phone from my girlfriend at 3 a.m. She was in hysterics and asking why I scared her. Apparently, she received a phone call from that basement phone just a minute earlier with someone who sounded like me slowly repeating her name until crackling and fading out. My apartment was 10 miles away from work. I thought she was lying, but I saw the 3 a.m. call from the basement phone logged on myself. Still freaks me out. I'm just going to go right to number 6 here, because it's also really short. Incoming call. About 10 years ago, I had a friend pass away. A few days later, he had passed. Some friends and I were sitting in my car chatting about him, the one who had passed away. My phone starts ringing, but all it says is incoming call. No number, no name. I flip open my phone to answer it, but I can't. It just keeps ringing. It rings, and I eventually take the phone's battery out, and it still rings. This went on for a good 2 minutes, then it stopped. Scared us at the time, but it was also kind of comforting in an odd way. Okay, so they're assuming that it was the friend that passed away. This is really short too, so this is number 7. But only silence. 4 years ago, my friend's father passed away, and he called me since he didn't know what to do. So I go to their house with 2 of my uncles. The body was still on the bed since the ambulance was still on the way. Oh, wow. We were gathered at the living room, my friend, his mother, his sister, me, and my 2 uncles. Cell phone when the cell phone of the dead father called. Twice. His mother answered it both times, but no voice, no sound, nothing. They found the phone later in a cabinet, but the call register did not show the 2 calls. Wow. Has that happened to anybody else? You got phone calls from someone that passed away? Hey, Spooky Boo! Nice. Spooky Boo is very talented, has a podcast, and if I'm not mistaken, a radio show that I still need more information on. But if you have any links, feel free to share them in the chat or send them my way, and I'll put them in the description box to share also. I used to listen to these 2 ladies. They were just some ladies I was friends with on Facebook. They were both English, from England, English. I don't know how else to say that properly. But they were like tarot card readers, but they were really funny. And I would listen to them, and they, at some point, like one of them had to start doing something else, and so they couldn't have the radio show anymore. But it was totally free for them to do and free to listen. So I thought that was interesting. Spooky Boo, my phone used to ring after my cat passed. That's crazy. Harry reads, I got a call from my relative who passed away, a Nigerian prince, asking for my bank account details, so he could share his ghost money with me. That's good. Mr. Richards, gotta go. Great work as always, Duchess. Bye. Bye. I'm not being disgenuine. I have explained that before, that it is a smart-ass way that we say goodbye in my household. So, bye. Bye. Okay. Anyway. On to I believe we're going on to number 8 now. Okay. Let's see. This one is titled, Don't Worry About Calling Back. So, I was a freshman in high school, I believe. My mom and my stepdad separated but they still shared a friend, and that friend had 2 strokes recently and was in rough shape. So they went to do stuff and left me at my mom's house alone all the time. So let's focus on me at the moment. Okay, let's. I was sitting at home playing computer games. I heard the phone ring, and the answer machine was a US Robotics 56K modem that had a built-in answering machine. Okay, so I didn't pick up the phone, but muted my game to hear who it was so I could tell my mom when she got back that someone called. So it was the friend of theirs saying he was okay and not to worry. Also, don't worry about calling back, that he missed them, etc. What I did find out at the time was the phone's caller ID was blank, but lit up like someone was calling. This didn't faze me at the time since caller ID was still kind of new. So my mom came back with my ex-stepdad, and I told them a friend called, and they looked at me with anger and thought I was joking or something. I told them the message and that it was on the machine, and I was serious. So they checked the machine, and all the previous messages were gone, with one new message. They played it, and it was pure static. They told me it wasn't possible because he died 2 hours ago while they were out for five or so hours because they got a call on their cell phones from the family members of the friend. He wasn't able to make it through his third stroke, and his body just gave up. Aww. My grandma's dead. I received calls since then. Have a good day, Mr. Richards. Mark Selby, MCP and I do have that by as well. You do have what now? Don't worry about calling back. I'll find you. Oh my. Hey guys, can we nuke me? Like in a microwave? Hey, I miss you. LOL, JK, I'm dead. Bye. That was from Harry Rods. If anyone wants to know how to say his name correctly, I know it's spelled like Reeds, but I'm pretty sure it's Harry Rods. Just in case anyone wants to know. Number 9 is called A Constant Ringing. I used to babysit at this really nice house that was about 30-minute drive from the nearest town. I'm pretty sure I read these. Maybe I didn't ever read them for my channel, or I was going to. I don't know. Anyway. If I did, it was super long time ago. I used to babysit at this really nice house that was about 30-minute drive from the nearest town. About 15 of those miles were on random gravel roads, so it was pretty isolated. A well-known billionaire in the community built the house when he started making his money. He was a really tough guy who basically put his business before his wife and family. Later on in life, as his health was declining, he began to regret that. It was too late, though. He had burned his bridges and most of his children. With most of his children, he didn't burn his children. I only know this because my dad employed his mentally challenged daughter and had become close with his wife. Anyway, he died, and I shit you not, he was haunting the house he built. I was at this house at least a couple of times a week, and really freaky stuff started happening as soon as he died. The dog, who was normally pretty chill, refused to come inside for weeks and would just run around the house in a panic. He'd stand outside the window of an empty room and just bark and growl like crazy. The 2-year-old started saying that he was scared all the time and would get up in the middle of the night to check on his baby brother. He had never done that before. There were 2 things that really scared me, though. It was really late, probably 2 a.m., and the phone started ringing, but not in the normal way. Like it was a constant ring instead of a ring and then a pause. When I tried to answer it, there was just this clicking noise, and as soon as I'd hang up, they'd all start ringing again. The screen on the phone didn't change either. It didn't register that there was an incoming call at all. It just kept displaying the time and number of missed calls. I had to go and manually turn the ringer off of each phone so it wouldn't wake the boys up. The second was I heard something in the main living room and assumed that the older boy had woken up. As I was getting to go check, I heard a crash. When I got there, a tall vase holding some fake plants was on the ground, and there was no one in the room. The boys were both in bed, and the dog was asleep in the garage. I know it sounds kind of ridiculous, but these things legit happened. Even if they didn't, though, the way I felt when I was in the house would have had me convinced that it was haunted. I've never felt so on edge in my life. It's like I couldn't relax. I finally started having either my boyfriend or my guy best friend come with me. And they both felt the same way about it, too. I almost burped in the thing again. I don't think think those are scary either. Bye. Do we do the bye thing that you do? So when anyone's leaving our house, because we're like mimicking, like when, how you hear people like that are totally just genuine, like when they say love you, bye. Usually, like, I don't know, we're being mean and making fun of completely shallow people when we do it. But nobody in this house leaves without saying I love you. Everybody is good about that. So, but we always say bye. Duchess, can you put some blankets in your garden? It's cold out here. We've talked about this, Harry Rods. You sleep outside. You use the elements to protect yourself. Harry Rods. If anyone wants to know, again, how to pronounce that correctly, it's Rods. Number 10, an impossible 911 call. All right, first of all, I don't think it's impossible because I've heard some really wacko ones. All right, psychiatric RN here. Ooh, this could be good. My first job was in a small 35-bed psych hospital in California. It used to be a medical facility where surgeries were performed, and of course, people died. A couple stories here. First off, when I'd work the night shift, I'd get a phone call from the local police station asking if everything was okay. Sure, everything was fine. All the patients are asleep. Just a normal night. The police then said that they received a 911 call from our hospital, and the extension from where the call was being made was the arts and crafts room. Nobody goes in there at night. Not even staff. It's always had a creepy vibe, and that used to be where surgeries were performed. The caller, identifying herself as Santana, was asking for help. This would happen about once or twice a month. Night shift didn't have much staff, so as a supervisor, I knew where all my staff were at because I would be the one to help them relieve during breaks. I know with 100% certainty that no staff or patients were the ones calling 911. I know it wasn't a patient because psych hospital doors are locked, and to get to that room, a patient would have to cross 3 barriers of passcode-protected doors. Now, at other times, our PA system would turn on randomly, usually after 10 p.m., and you'd hear breathing and beeping machines. None of our equipment beeped. One time in particular, the PA turned on and you could hear what sounded like a kid speaking, but the content of what they said couldn't be made out. Then it stopped. Then started again, and you could hear what sounded like an outgoing call playing through the PA. This was impossible to do, because to activate the PA, you had to pick up a phone and dial 77. Once you do that, you lose a dial tone and cannot make an outbound call. So anyhow, the PA played on outgoing call for hours, yet not a single phone was ringing in the hospital, so we weren't sure what was happening, let alone how. It finally stopped around 6 a.m. and our patients were pissed. Imagine trying to fall asleep to that. To this day, nobody knew how that happened, and the technician we called out at the time thought we were pranking him. What is that now? What is this now? Okay, I gotta scroll up so I can see this. My neck got cut. What'd I miss? Some just random stuff. At least give me some food. I say I love you too because I never know. Exactly. I've been to a lot of funerals and you don't ever know, and that's, yeah. I baked 2 cookies, damn it. Outside, it's cold here, I doubt it. We got it from RuPaul's Drag Race. What did you get from RuPaul's Drag Race? Mark. Harry, Rods, April, I like you very much. Hating on Harry. You said you loved me before. Meanie. I do, but we can't be respectable members of society in public. My bad. What's this respectable members of public society? No one here is required to be that. Harry, Rods. That's Phantom Zones right now. Check this out. Hey, Phantom Zone, you smelly roast. Oh, there's so much I missed. I'll be nice. Harry, Rods, Phantom and me are making fake distracts for some of that sweet YouTube revenue. Psh. Rewriting lunch today. Woo! Phantom, I'm sure you're quite pleasant. We are Legion. There's an old Twilight episode where grandma dies and she talks to her grandson on a toy phone she gave him right before her death. It's creepy as fuck. You know what? Those episodes are crazy scary. They are. They were way ahead of their time. But you know who also was way ahead of their time? And we watch it. I can't remember the channel because it shows like all older shows. Is it The Munsters? They're funny. They're like goofy, stupid, funny. Way ahead of their time. Bye, Sweet Pea. Where's Sweet Pea? Who's leaving? Love you, Dutchie. Oh, Jen's leaving. Oh, bye, Jen. Bye. Oh, RuPaul. Oh, really? Oh, damn, Phantom, that diss track beat. Phantom, I think you're pretty cool, but I will say you like a fool. Oh, hey. Bye. Okay. Bye, Jen. Bye. Okay. We're moving on. You can listen to these if you want to listen to my psychotic, distracted narrative. Number 11. Is Sarah there? Until about a year or two ago, I still had an older slider phone. I miss some older cell phones. Does anybody else? I had this one. It's on my shelf right now. I'm looking at it. It's the kind where you like it. It's like one of the first touchscreen ones. So it also folds in half. So when you open it up, it's got like the touch screen in front of you. So you can either type on the touch screen or you can flip it and you could type on the keyboard. I miss that keyboard like you don't even know. Anyone else? Sounds so nasal. I know. Bye. It is totally nasal. All right. Okay, back to the stories. Number 11 is Sarah there. Until about a year or two ago, I still had an old slider phone. And clear my throat. Sorry if anyone could hear that. I did try to move the mic, but I don't think I succeeded. One day I got a random call asking for some girl named Sarah. I told them they had the wrong number and they immediately hung up. So for the next month, I would get these calls asking for Sarah about once or twice a week, sometimes at 3 in the morning. One day, I got a call and like usual, I said I didn't know Sarah. And after they hung up, I went to my contacts and hit redial. After I did, the machine took over and said that number did not exist. So I went back through my call history trying to call some other people that had called me with the same result. A machine telling me that number did not exist. I Googled the numbers, but all I learned is that they were coming from North Dakota. I started wondering what was going on. So the next time I got a call asking for Sarah, I said, "Oh yeah, she's right here." And the other person on the other end said, "No, she isn't," and hung up. Then things started to get weird when I started getting calls from unknown numbers calling me. Whoever or whatever was on the other end, hanging up the second I said hello. That's scary to me. That doesn't seem like paranormal. But anyway, the creepiest one I ever got was from a call I got where they didn't hang up after I said hello. I could hear someone was on the other end, just listening, but they didn't say anything. Just something really uneasy about that. Eventually, I switched for a smartphone and immediately stopped getting calls. I haven't gotten a random call in almost 2 years now. Ooh. Schmeisty is the way to go. Ha ha. That's funny. Oh, I got sound back. Hey, ho. My uncle tried to schmeist me once. You know what, Harry Rods? That could mean many, many things. I don't want to know. I'm a cat-baby hybrid. It hurts. Harry Rods said, "I'm a cat-baby hybrid. It hurts." Hopefully, if anyone else I run into in real life, name like that I don't call them Rods. And I'll learn how to, I'll ask them, "Do you pronounce it this way or that way?" Because there's this one guy that is on Twitter and YouTube sometimes, and his name is spelled this way, but we pronounce it Rods. Anyway, double checking that everyone is still here. I can open my teeny tiny little window and see the big green lips and see the little circles moving to make sure there's sound going into it, but I actually don't know if you guys are getting the sound. Harry Cosby. That makes too much sense. You might want to change that around. We're on number 12 of 24 freaky phone calls. That's all. I'm going to shorten it up. I usually do. I always change the titles of the stories. It's pretty rare that I keep the title of the story the same as what I have found. Anyway, number 12, every morning at 4:17 a.m. So I used to work at a shack with one other person, and it was like a small warehouse. So one day, my partner was being transferred. That meant I would have to take the night shift. Before he left, he decided to have a talk with me. When we were talking, he told me about the payphone that was out in front, and it always rings at 4:17 a.m. every day, and it would only ring once. My partner said it was probably them just making sure it worked, but he never knew since he never answered it. After that, he took all of his stuff and left. So on my first night of the night shift, I waited out in front of the door, and he was right. At 4:17 a.m. exactly, the payphone rang, but only once. The next night, I decided to pick it up and answer. When it was 4:15, I went out to the payphone and looked at my watch until it turned 4:17. The phone rang, and I picked it up. There was no answer, just the faint noise of breathing, which meant someone else was on the other line. After 5 minutes of silence, I spoke. Hello? No one replied, so I repeated myself. Hello? I need to replace my computer chair, by the way. It's really like now up. After a few minutes of saying hello, I gave up and hung up the phone. For the next few nights, I went out to the phone saying hello for 5 minutes, then giving up and going back inside. Soon I stopped going outside, but the phone continued to ring once every night at 4:17. Weeks went by, and I decided to try answering the phone again. So I went out at 4:15 and waited until the phone rang. When it did, I picked it up and called into it. Hello. I said hello over and over again, not taking a single breath as I did so. There was no reply, and I was about to give up before I heard another voice. As it spoke, it was a deep, husky voice. What it said was the part that still scares me to this very day. The voice on the other line said my full, first, middle, and last name. A raspy gasp escaped my throat before I slammed the phone out and back onto the payphone. The next night, the phone didn't ring. Even if it didn't, I don't intend to use it, ever. After that night, the payphone never rang at 4:15 again. Okay, that's scary. That's scary. Harry Rod said, I can open my teeny tiny little legs. And then he says, Russia. Schmeister says, nobody schmeists like the Schmeister. I can't say it right, I'll tell you that. Schmeister? Schmeister. Schmeister. That sounds like I'm whistling like the creepy guy from Family Guy. You like popsicles? I like popsicles. Get your ass over here. We do a lot of impersonations in our house. Peter. Peter. And we love Family Guy. Sorry, I'm not. Sorry, not sorry. Alright. Creepy. Yeah, that's hell. That's freaking creepy. Number 13. Another room in the hotel. This checking sound. Okay. I was a junior in high school. Oh, I was. Okay. Here that means 11th grade, if anyone doesn't know that. So I was in 11th grade, and my mother and I were hiding out in a hotel in a nearby town from her abusive husband. Oh, Jesus. He had assaulted her in a violent rage a couple days prior, in front of his family even, and the cops hadn't caught him yet, and I was out of town at the time. We didn't tell anybody exactly where we were, just that we were in a hotel. So on the second night, my mom and I were just hanging out when suddenly the hotel phone started ringing. We both looked at each other and my heart dropped. She muted the TV and we just sat and watched the phone ring until it stopped. We waited a moment before my mom called the front desk. The room was so quiet I could hear the conversation. My mother said, "Hi, I was wondering if you just received a phone call." If I just received a phone call. Because the front desk knows when you're in a hotel, you're kind of like a switchboard, I think, for the whole thing. The front desk says, "Yes, you did." My mother asks, "Was it a man?" Front desk says, "Yes." Mother, "Did he have an accent?" Front desk, "Yes." Texan. He was from Texas. She looked at me for a moment. My mother asked, "Where did he call from?" Oh my God. Front desk says, "Another room in the hotel." Holy God. We immediately had the front desk call the police. While we waited for them to show up, we hid between our two beds. We were on the first floor. Had no idea where he was. If he knew where we were, or if he had a shotgun that we knew he had access to. Oh, he had access to a shotgun. Okay. Police came quickly and arrested him in a room above and 2 rooms down from where we were. He had been texting my mom that night creepy things about our cars and how we were trapped idiots. He had also been calling the front desk to get them to come to our door so he could find us. The hotel was built with an interior balcony so you could see the first floor from the second. This whole evening still gives me shivers. Oh my God. Yikes. See, those scare me more than paranormal. Schmeister. It's like smooth sauce. Schmeister? Oh, here he reads. First, middle, last name. Duchess, sexually frustrated, dark. Psh, Harry Rods. You don't know shit. Logan, my dead aunt called me. She was murdered by her husband because he was tired of taking care of her. She was very sick. Oh my God. That's terrible, Logan. I'm so sorry. I hope he didn't burn his kids. Are you just catching up, Anthony? Yeah. That legit is frightening. Yeah, that to me, April, is way scarier than a ghost story. I feel like it's pretty rare when something that's paranormal hurts someone. I think people are just scared of the unknown, but when there was a person who is hell bent and determined on either hurting you or making you feel like they're going to hurt you, it is a feeling that you can't really relay across to someone until they feel it. I'm not sure if someone who hasn't felt that in their life can be scared by that. Maybe that's why more people are. I don't know. Is there anybody out there that hasn't been like hunted down by someone else who is still scared by that story? Huh. Harry Rods, do you want me to tell you what your middle name is? We're going to assign one to you today. Congratulations. Harry gets blocked all the time, Rods. Moving on to number 14. Who is this? This is kind of a shorter one, too. So I get a call while I'm out at school. I'm in 6th grade. I'd gotten several calls from this number. It's usually this old lady talking about her son Patrick, and I tell her she has the wrong number every time. I answer to tell her once again, wrong number. But when I picked up, it was a man's voice who I assumed was Patrick. When I say hello, he asked me, "Who is this?" I said, you called me. He said, "Well, I don't remember calling you. EB." He started to say my name, which reveals the fact that he lied about not knowing who he called and also how does he know my name. He stammers, then says, never mind. But anyway, how old are you? I tell him I'm 11, and he says, well, you've got a sexy voice, Ebony. How about I call you back later and we talk more? I hung up the phone and blocked the number. Oh my God. I'm going to move on from that right away because Harry gets blocked all the time. Cosby. Okay. Yeah, let's get it right. Number 15, nobody can save you. Well, that's not scary at all, is it? Jeez. can't get rid of this Wayfair ad, so I have to click on it. Okay. All right, just happened a few days ago. This was written, this whole thing happened 2016, so this is like last year. I worked in a hospital overnight. I have a partner for a unit of 7 patients, psych hospital. A few weeks ago, my partner was out and a PRN, practical nurse, but filled in for her. If anyone doesn't know what that is, that's someone who is, we have different levels here, like medical assistants can take like everything that's not invasive. Sometimes they can draw blood. Then we have nurse aides who do a lot of physical work. Then practical nurses are on their way to becoming RNs. I don't know even if they have that certification here anymore. But practical nurses can do like meds and things like that, but they can't do everything that RNs can do. Anyways, that's what the practical nurse. They do that a lot in like psych hospitals and a lot of I don't know if they do too much in hospitals, but do a lot of nursing homes around here because it's easier to get to pay a PRN instead of a registered nurse, because usually registered nurses get paid a lot more. It's a pay scale thing. Anyway, going on. A few weeks ago, my partner was out and had another nurse fill in her spot. This woman slept throughout the entire 12-hour shift, knowing we have self-injury patients on the unit. Oh my God. What a terrible person to become a nurse, by the way. Anyway, one of the patients had to be monitored at all times. I did not feel safe, and I did not feel my patients were safe with her, the nurse. That doesn't really specify if she means the nurse or the patient. We're going to find out. I explicitly told my supervisor I did not want to work with her again without giving him specific reasons. My intention was not to get her in trouble. Yeah, why would you want to get the horrible malpractice waiting to happen lawsuit nurse in trouble? Anyway, my intention was not to get her in trouble. I just wasn't comfortable working with her, and I don't want to get fired for someone else's negligence. Well, you would hope that you wouldn't want your patients to be harmed by her either. Anyway, a director, HR, and my supervisor watched the videos from that night and saw her sleeping. I had to meet with them and tell them what happened. Come to find out, a nurse and a patient also saw her sleeping. She was fired, rightfully so. So, this past Wednesday, the phone rang during the night shift, as it frequently does, and it's usually nursing. My partner said it was for me. I pick up thinking it's an employee from a different unit offering snacks, as this frequently happens. I look at the caller ID to see which unit it was calling from, and it only showed 4 digits, which I thought was weird, but didn't think too much about it. A woman didn't speak for quite a few seconds, with me saying hello a few times. Finally, she says my name. I answer. Then she starts speaking rapidly, saying, "I'm coming to see you. Stay there. Don't leave." And I'm just like, okay. Thinking I'm not leaving, and what are you coming up here for? Then she says, "I want to thank you for a job well done." Up to that point, I was just confused, but then it clicked. Is this the woman that was fired? Is she really on campus right now? She worked here for years, so she knows the gate code, has friends here, so she could borrow a badge and get into our unit. But then I'm saying, what are you talking about, and who is this? She says, "Stay there. Don't run. I'm coming up the hill. Nobody can save you," and hangs up. I quickly tell my partner the contents of the phone call, and she'd heard my side of it. I call the supervisor on duty, and he's not very concerned. He says he'll come by in a little while. I was too scared to look out the windows to see if she was coming up the hill, honestly. What did she mean by those last few sentences? Is she outside right now with a gun or something? So my partner was freaked out too. Just last week, someone called her son from a block number and threatened to shoot him at school, so she wasn't taking this lightly. After about an hour, I worked up the nerve to look out every window as I made my rounds to check on patients. Thankfully, she did not appear to be on campus, and I didn't get any more calls the rest of my work week. There is now an investigation underway. I've never really gotten a scary call, so this may be tame. I haven't read any other comments, but I made sure to call my mom's sister and boyfriend in case I wasn't coming home that morning. Wow. Anybody else been threatened by a coworker? I'm just curious. How old are you? Stop calling me. In space, no one can hear you fap. Ew. Gross. Schmeister, so why is everybody watching that person sleep? Isn't that creepier? What? No, they're watching her sleep because they have to make sure that the nurses are doing their. Actually, it's more for patient safety than anything else. But yeah, I'm personally glad for some of those. I don't think that cameras need to be everywhere all the time, but there are moments where I'm like, wow, I'm really glad they had a camera there. Anyway, everyone can still hear me, right? Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Now pause for a second just to make sure. Side note, has anyone started listening to Christmas music? Because I have. But I'm a person that I'm baking stuff in advance and freezing it, so it really helps get me in the mood for baking. Anyway. Number 16. This one is called Phone Sex. Don't get excited in the chat there. I don't think it's what you're thinking. When I was 16 or 17, I answered the phone in the middle of the night. Landline, cell phones weren't a thing yet. And I picked it up really quickly. I'm a light sleeper. So it wouldn't wake my mother since I assumed a late night call would be for me or my sister. I whispered hello, and he whispered back. It was a little weird, but I just assumed it was my boyfriend. Oh no. He starts asking me what I'm wearing and all. And before long, we're having full-on phone sex. It was pretty great, actually, but then a few days later, I was with my boyfriend and mentioned how that was fun on the phone the other night, and he had no idea what I was talking about. Ew. So out there's some dude that just randomly called people hoping he was going to get some female on the line. And then, did that. Gross. Excuse me, I just burped another thing. You are all welcome for that horrible, horrible thing I just did. I'm so easily distracted. I baked 2 cookies. Yeah, they're probably turd cookies. It's lit. Michael Phosphorus. I like that last name. Phosphorus. Okay. Number 17. Sure. Quotation marks. It's in quotes. I live in the middle of practically nowhere, about 15-minute drive without traffic to a small town by us. When I was in 5th grade, my parents were at work. I was home from school watching TV, so I get a call from an older guy saying I had a really nice blue shirt on. I asked how he knew that, and he laughed. I locked my doors to my house, closed my curtains, and the guy was laughing. I hadn't hung up the phone yet, and I was freaking out. The guy asked where my parents were, and I said my dad was taking a shower. He replies by chuckling and saying, sure. I hung up the phone, called my parents, and told them about it. They called a police officer to come to talk to me about it, and they patrolled our neighborhood for a couple of days. It was seriously horrifying. Man, that's infuriating. As a parent, I desperately, want to take care of that scenario. Number 18, give us PJ. I was 13, and I get a phone call on my bullshit flip phone that had 3 contacts. You know the one. Me. Hello? Caller. We want PH. Give us PJ back. I say, I don't know who PJ is. The caller says, we want PJ back. Click. So after the call, a black car pulled up to my house at the same time I heard knocking on my back door. It was 2 kids asking for PJ. The man that came out of the car looked at me through the window and said, you have PJ. Fucking give us PJ back. Mind you, PJ are my mother's initials. My older sister was the only other person in the house. She grabs a knife and calls the cops. The car pulled off, and I never saw nor heard from them ever again. What the heck? That doesn't even make any sense. Roadhouse. That's how we say roadhouse in our house. Morning, Duchess. It's finally good to catch up. A live stream. You kick ass. Love your work. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Roadhouse. That's code for anything entertaining or badass in our house. All right. Number 19. Come pick me up. It wasn't a phone call, but a string of texts I received. So I moved out of my folks' house in WA's Washington, right? Down to Texas when I was 19 for a career I was extremely fortunate to land at my age. After living there for maybe 4 months, I get a message from a number out of Ohio saying, hey, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. I didn't know anyone from Ohio. Never met anyone from Ohio. I reply back with who is this and how do I know you? All of that. This person tells me we met locally at a Mexican restaurant and exchanged numbers. I don't remember doing any of that shit. I ask for a name and a picture, as I'm better with faces than names. The picture this person sends is of a gorgeous girl like model type. Definitely did not meet her ever before in my life. As the day progresses, she tells me she's moving to my area, but still in Ohio. She also knows a few things about me, like general area I live in, color of my eyes, what kind of car I drove, but nothing too important or specific that I would ever share with anyone outside of pleasantries. I'm still weirded out over the fact that I have no clue who I'm talking with. She asks me to tell her about myself. But I'm highly untrusting of this. I dismiss her and leave it at that for the night. The next morning, she asks me if I can pick her up from a restaurant in a town about 60 miles away. Now I'm becoming more suspicious. I ask the name, she tells me. I ask if I look it up, will I find it? She says I would, and come pick her up as soon as possible. Something's amiss. I can't find the restaurant. The name doesn't even exist in Google. I tell her I'm not coming to pick her up. She replies with a fuck you and a you're obviously gay and stop acting like a bitch. I just ignore her from there. Later in the day, I show all of this to a friend. He responds with, dude, this is a guy. Women don't act like this. This is a dude doing this. I don't know what he wants from you, but this sounds dangerous to me. The town she wanted me to drive to is a small border town known for alien and drug smuggling along with a cartel gang presence. So I have no idea how this person ever got my number, knew my name, knew some minor personal details about me, or what they wanted from me, but it was the single most creepy thing that ever happened to me over the phone. Yeah, don't talk to strangers. That's a basic thing. I think sometimes when people are lonely, they do make mistakes because they're lonely, but I don't think that they're stupid. This can alter your judgment. So enjoy your own company. That's some advice to follow right there. Oh, I'm just saying. A call from 1995. This is really 2 sentences. So I'm at the office after hours alone. Phone rings. I pick it up to a woman frantically screaming, "You gotta help me." Click. Never find out who it was or what it was about. Number 21. Lost forever. Shortly after my mother died, I got a whole bunch of phone calls that were nothing but static and clicks and pops. And in one instance, I could have sworn I heard the words, "I love you." The answering machine recorded one of them, and I was determined to keep it. But the power went out and cleared everything that was previously on there. Oh, what a bummer. That is a true bummer. Let me see. You gotta be careful around them scamming mysterious xenomorphs. My uncle encourages me to talk to strangers. Yeah, I do too. I think you should probably let us all have your number so we can post it somewhere publicly. You can exchange like your address with them, and I'm just joking. All right, number 22. There's only a few more to go, so those of you that I'm painstakingly dragging along this journey of distraction. Number 22. I never called. That's what this says. Many years ago, when married to my first husband, I received a telephone call at around 4:20 a.m. It was my older brother telling me he had just gotten married. The call woke up my husband, and I spoke with my brother for about 5 minutes. I hung up, went back to sleep. About a week or so later, I was visiting at my mother's home, and this same brother was there with his wife. I thanked him for calling me, and I got this odd stare, and his mouth fell open. He told me he had called our mother, but he had never called me at all. I turned to my mother, and she related the entire conversation she had had with him, and then I related the entire conversation I had with him. And these conversations were literally identical at the same exact time. Doppelganger. Number 23. Get out now. Get out. When I was about 11, I got up around 3 a.m. to go to the bathroom. Walked in, peed, washed up. Just kidding, I was 11. It was 3 a.m. Fuck that shit. That's funny. Started walking back to my room. And as I walked through the living room, I heard the telephone ring. This was the mid-90s, so it was a landline. Confused and startled, I walked over to the phone, picked it up, and heard someone screaming. It was distorted, almost sounded like radio static that was trying to talk to me. I kept saying, "What?" and "Huh?" Finally, after trying to make out what it said, the static got really loud, and through it I heard very clearly and very loudly, "Get out now!" I just hung up the phone really quickly and ran to my mom's room and told her what happened. She was too tired and to really say much. She had a little cot in the room, and I just slept with her that night. Never really thought about that again until when I wrote this. Oh, this is number 24. Let me check the chat. Time to check the chat. Hello, Zach Sherman. Shamanita. Number 24 is titled Porn in the Background. For a period of 6 months, we'd received calls from an unknown caller almost daily, and usually a couple times throughout the day. The caller would have what sounds like porn in the background playing for the duration of the call. Never said anything. The calls would usually take place in the afternoon and occasionally at 4 o'clock in the morning. Threats didn't help relent their harassment so wasn't much we could do besides hang up. One day I picked up and listened for a bit, which I suppose was unusual for my behavior from my end. The moaning intensified, and then I could hear a stifled chuckle. I slowly asked the caller, "What is it you want? Are you lonely?" They immediately hung up and never called back again. Like, that's the last one? I don't understand. That's how they end the whole thing. That's not even scary. That's funny. Why are you calling me? I wonder if anyone's ever randomly picked a number and called someone and can you make me a peanut butter jelly sandwich? Our car randomly started getting XM radio, which is really nice because I immediately want to listen to all the comedy channels. And I don't remember what the name of the comedian was that was saying it. There's little snippets, so it's not like a whole one-person show. Maybe they have those on there, I don't know, but whenever I've listened to them, it's little snippets of stand-up routines. And this one guy was talking about going up to people and going, "Psst," and telling you what to do to them and stuff. People can be weird. Yeah, they can. That's what I love about people. I'm a person that people usually walk up to and tell them their life story while I'm waiting in line. And I always get the feeling of when I should or shouldn't make eye contact with someone, because I know when I do, they're going to tell me things that I can't unhear or don't want to hear, or just I don't know. It happens all the time, to the point where I'm just like, okay, I just want to, I don't know, want to avoid that. But anyway, this guy was talking about shushing people, going, "Psst." You know how people do that, when they want to tell you a secret, "Psst." I'm a stoic sort, but I make a crazy amount of eye contact. Yeah. I like staring at someone that's staring at me. because I like to see who's going to look away first. It's not going to be me. I like staring back at someone that's staring at me and seeing how long it'll last. Yeah, that's fun. I used to have a favorite radio channel about pure horror. Now, yeah, are there any channels like that? I didn't find any on XM, and I had that thought this morning. I'm like, wouldn't that be cool if there was a series of narration channels? Copyright, 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 copyright. That's my idea. I'm trademarking that. Don't steal it from me. If you do, you better freaking pay me for it. Leave do the show, Manita. Yeah. All right, so this guy was saying to like shush people, and then immediately, or no, go psst, and then go shh. Like, don't interrupt me when I'm trying to tell you a secret. I was trying to look up this thing that I had found before. Oh, funny. Things to do when you're like in an elevator. Or like when you're just, there we go. No, come back here. There's like this whole list of funny things to do when you're bored. Okay, so if you're in an elevator, stand silent and motionless in the corner facing the wall without getting off. That's creepy. Greet everyone with a warm handshake and ask them to call you Admiral. Meow occasionally. We do that a lot here to see how many times it takes before someone notices. Rat meow. Stare at another passenger for a while, then announce in horror, you're one of them, and then back away slowly. Say ding at each floor. Way ahead of you. I do that all the time. Make explosion noises when someone presses a button. I make explosion noises when I'm grocery shopping and I open and close those doors, but I do it really quietly, so I don't know if anyone can hear me doing it. Like, or like that whoosh sound from like Star Trek when those fake slider like motion doors would open and close. I don't know. Draw a little square on the floor with chalk and then announce that this is your personal space. When there's only one other person in the elevator, tap him or her on the shoulder and then pretend it wasn't you. Drop a pen and wait until someone reaches to pick it up and then scream, "That's mine!" Call a group hug, then enforce it. No way. I would not do that. Yeah, I probably would. Let's see. I either gravitate to horror or comedy. If there's action involved in either of those, it's like the perfect storm. 10 things to do. Oh, just 10. This is a list that someone said. 10 things I'll do someday. Wear a t-shirt that says life. Hand out lemons on the street corner. Buy a horse, name it Thunder. Takes the lead. And enter it in horse races. Become a doctor. Change last name to Arcula. So it's like Dracula. Oh my god. Make vanilla pudding. Put it in a mayo jar. Eat in public. Buy a parrot. Teach them to say help. I've been turned into a parrot. Go to Australia. Locate 42 Wallaby Lane, Sydney. From Finding Nemo. Change name to Simon. Speak in third person. Simon says. That's hilarious. Get a walk-in closet. Design the inside to look like Narnia. Purposely spell words slightly wrong and add them to roommate's Microsoft Word dictionary. Run into a store. Ask what year it is. When someone answers, yell, "It worked," and run out cheering. Oh. I was reading these things yesterday about people that were talking about things that they did when they were drunk. And they kind of seemed made up. Because they are like, dude, you were so drunk, ... I wish there was a way to do like interact with everybody verbally, but then it would be just like a great big mass phone call. And I am a huge, like, I don't like to be interrupted when I'm talking. That's not because I think it's rude. It's because I always forget what I'm saying. Then I get frustrated with myself because I literally I can't listen to what you're saying now because now I'm trying to figure out what the heck I was just saying. And I'm now lost in two conversations. One was my own, now in the one that you're trying to tell me. And two, I also interrupt people all the time because when I get a random thought in my head, because it happens all the time, I feel like I have to blurt it out right now. It's awful. I spend a lot of time alone. What's from the Philippines? What's from the Philippines? Oh, the horror channels? Really? So it's not in English then. I am very envious of anybody that can speak another language because it's always something I've tried to do and I fail at miserably. And I feel like I don't know if any other Americans feel like that. I feel like they're the only country that doesn't like isn't integrated to know another language. Like we can have options, and now I think the high schools require so many years of another language before graduating, but it's like, why are we the only country that only knows English? Does that make sense to anybody? Yeah, the radio show. Soup kitchen. Yell soup kitchen? No soup for you. Some speak German, French, or Japanese. No Filipino. That's pretty talented. I was learning some Italian when I was younger. I worked in an Italian bakery. That was after I completed cosmetology school. That was after nursing. I'm one of those people that's been a jack of all trades, but master of none. If you know what I mean. Like, if there's I don't know how to weld. Like, I can use a hammer. I'm not like bad at it. I'll probably hurt myself. I hurt myself all the time. But there's not that one thing that I do that's like, wow, you're so good at that. Like, I'm very envious of anybody that's like a master of their trade. I Spanish for years, still don't know it. I took French when I was in middle school, and you have to read, write it, and speak it. And I was okay at reading and writing it, but speaking it, oh my gosh. And our French teacher wasn't like patient or kind about it either. She'd be like, I don't know what you just said. Thank you for encouraging me. Logan M says, sometimes when I'm on elevators, I get really close to someone and tell them they smell good with a big smile. Yeah, that's not creepy at all. What's better is if you get really close and go, when you smell their hair and then don't say anything else and then just back away from them. You are good at narrating. You know what? Thank you very much. I'm gotta edit this one audiobook that I just finished. So, making any money at something, like that's, yeah. I took all my ads off of YouTube, by the way, if no one knows that. Like, I just got rid of it because it's pointless. They never, like, supposedly when you reach like a certain level, you should start like making money at it. I long surpassed that level. Never made a dime. Like, you have to, I'm not going to go into it, but no, nothing ever. So what's the point of the ads? Because the ads, YouTube still makes money from the ads. Because when you have a company and you pay for advertising, you pay that. It's a flat fee. You don't, they can say whatever they want to, but they get paid for every ad that they have on anything, whether you interact with it or not, because you know damn well that we're not all clicking on that GM truck ad that's on everything, and they're still paying for it, so whatever. So anyways, audiobooks is good, but it's only good if the author is really vigilant about their whole marketing strategy, letting people know about their book and stuff. So I have 3 on sale, and only one of them has sold like significantly. One hasn't sold at all, and the other has only sold 2 copies. Like, oh, if you have any idea how much time and goes into that, plus you cannot have any background noise in those. Nothing. You can't cover that up with music. It can be very stressful. So, windstorm making our power, hiccup, and knocking out our internet. Oh, that sucks. Say to someone in a high-pitched voice. Say what to them in a high-pitched voice? Just talk to them in a high-pitched voice like this and pretend like it's your voice. We do that all the time anyway. Or we'll just talk in an English accent. Sometimes when we go to the store, like, you never know what's going to happen. Like, one time, I don't know if my husband's at work, but sometimes he'll listen if I'm having a live stream. So one time my stepson had a hockey puck and his sweats had a pocket, and we were at the store, and sometimes you can take kids with you and sometimes you can't. But he figured out that if he if he accidentally bumped into something with the hockey puck and it make a ding noise. So it's in his front pocket, this hockey puck. He thought it was funny to go up to everything and keep repeatedly dinging the hockey puck and everything metal in the store. So if you can picture what that looked like for a kid with a puck in their front pocket of their pants, banging on this stuff repeatedly, like, you can't laugh, but how can you not? Oh my God. Say to someone in a high-pitched voice in an elevator. What's the rest of that? Randomly yell, "It's morphing time." Sometimes there's just certain things you can do that are just like, I want to do them, but I know I'm going to end up laughing super loud and ruining the whole experience by telling the story back to someone. It's like I can't keep a straight face because it's too funny because I'm picturing it like through someone else's eyes and then I start laughing. I don't know. It's just crazy. It's morphin' time. All right, so we've been doing this a while. We're going to start wrapping it up soon. You can see the toll dropping. So if anyone doesn't know, for anyone who's still listening, there's only 10 watching now. In the description box from now on, you'll see my upload schedule for YouTube is every Saturday now, every Tuesday on SoundCloud, and every Wednesday on Patreon. SoundCloud is also free. And it's just audio. So literally you can list like, and there's no commercials there either. So there's no commercials anywhere where any of my audio is anymore. So do that predator chirp and pretend there's an invisible predator nearby. What if someone hasn't seen the movie? They won't know it. I haven't seen those movies in a really long time. I have to go back and watch them just to catch up on it. But I think we're going to wrap it up. I don't know why I have the sudden flush of Twitter followers. Twitter. Anyways, if anyone has any questions, I will gladly take them now. I will wait a 10-second pause. And if there aren't any questions, then we're going to wrap it up. Here's some elevator music for you. No questions, really? Okay. Because I don't think anybody wants to hear that for too long of a time. Isn't that why no one likes to call places? Have I lost contact? What is life? Good question. The Predator movies still hold up well. You know, hope you have a great day, Duchess. It's been lovely. It's been lovely, April Jones. I wish I could do a consistent English accent. What is life? I would say pumpkin spice, just to anger people. All right, so we're going to wrap it up now, and who knows when I'll do this again. I do it whenever I have random moments where I feel like the internet won't be interrupted, and then you can hear me without me going, hello, which I do anyway, so I don't know. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up, and then I will see you guys when I see you. Bye. Bye. Love you. Bye.